Hello everyone, my name is AJ, and I haven't come up with an intro yet. In today's video, I'll be continuing my series where I redesign and rewrite characters from Hazbin Hotel for my alternate universe, the bed and breakfast for former baddies. In today's video, I'll be rewriting Charlotte Morningstar. Spoilers ahead, so be warned. I started by designing Lucifer and Lilith, who are Charlie's parents, but I don't want to talk about them just yet. I was going to put all of them into this video, but there was so much to talk about that I had to split it up into parts. If you would like to see my design and concept for Lucifer right now, it's up on my Patreon if you give me $1. In my AU, Charlie shares the role of main character with Vaggie. This means her writing and design are the most important to get right out of all of the other characters. Lucifer and Lilith are just gonna have to wait their turn. I thought since I had designed both of her parents already that Charlie would be easy, and I was simply incorrect. I wanted to make Charlie look like she was actually related to these two, which means I have to follow their designs a lot more closely than I do Charlie's canon design. Something that VivziePop does a lot when she's designing a family is that she'll have the child look almost exactly like one parent and nothing like the other. Charlie's parents aren't the most egregious example of this happening, but it's not great. She looks incredibly similar to her dad, so much that if the two were the same gender, they would look almost identical. Her mom, though, I would not even come close to guessing that these two are related from appearance alone. The blonde hair is the only similarity between them, really. I did my best to combine the two head shapes into one, which does a lot of work to make her look like both of them right out the gate. I still wanted Charlie to look more like her dad, so I gave her his eye shape, hair color, and pair of featherless wings. Lucifer is a fallen angel, so I wanted to give Charlie some angelic elements too. And Vaggie is a fallen angel, so I've already set a precedent for what fallen angels kind of look like. So they've got like these, they keep like bits of their wings, but they don't have the feathers, so it looks like spikes or horns. From her mom, she got her leg shape and horns. I considered giving her snake hair, but I wasn't quite vibing with it, so I chose to give her regular hair instead. I didn't want to cover up her other eye like they do with Vaggie, but it didn't look like Charlie without the hair swoop, so it had to stay. For her clothes, I combined the pantsuit of the OG with the redesign of Vaggie's dress. I think that Vaggie's outfit is a uniform for the female bed and breakfast staff, and the male version would probably be a full suit, so Charlie gets an in-between. I did add a few details that wouldn't be on the regular staff's uniforms, like the sharp bits at the end of the sleeves, and I later went back and made the skirt a little shorter. Charlie is the owner after all, and I want her to look a little bit different from the rest of the staff, when she eventually gets more staff. I gave Charlie the traditional forked demon tail and made the end of her ponytail real sharp in reference to Lucifer's mane. You'll see. I'm really happy with Lucifer's design and I can't wait to show it to you. Now, color time. I knew I wanted to make Charlie's skin tone pink, but placing all the other colors was a little bit more difficult, specifically Vaggie's dark gray color. I really wanted to include it so that Charlie would have more than one color in common with her, but I don't normally put that many colors onto one character, so it was a bit of a challenge. After an hour of fiddling, I finally ended with a few details on her suit that I'm pretty happy with. I am really happy with this final design. I was trying really hard to evoke therapist mommy energy, and I think I nailed it. She did come out looking a little older than I intended, but I think that actually really works. In the canon show, Charlie is supposed to be 200 years old. I decided to slash off 100 years, but she's still gonna be a little bit older. By the way, the gray hair is just the hair she was naturally born with. It's not because she's old. I also redesigned Charlie's demon form. I think her demon form is pretty underwhelming. She gets horns, a tail, and her eyes change color, but that's it really. She still looks... I don't know, she just looks like any other regular demon in the show. It doesn't look super intimidating. For the longest time, I thought that the bits of the demon form that we had seen crop out throughout the show were just like hints towards what it would be, and then in the final, battle, oh, shit, I don't know how to describe how I feel about it. I decided to try turning her into a dragon. I didn't want to go full dragon. I wanted her to be more of a uncanny halfway between human looking and dragon, but honestly I don't think I succeeded. I think my design still looks cool, but it doesn't accomplish quite what I wanted it to. It doesn't look scary enough, and frankly, I'm not happy with it. I wanted to start over and try again, but I just don't have time. I don't have time this time. I'll have to try again in the next, well, maybe not the next video, but some other time I will take another crack at this and see if I can make it actually good. In the original show, Charlie is a bubbly character with a lot of energy, a hyper-positive attitude, and enormous dreams. Her goal is to redeem sinners to get them into heaven so the exterminations don't have to happen anymore. Personally, I don't really vibe with Charlie. I think she's a little cliche. The hyper-positive, cutesy, adorable girl with big dreams and too much energy is a character that's been done a lot in recent years. Mabel from Gravity Falls, Star from Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Luz from the Owl House, most of the modern Disney princesses. It's a lot. She also doesn't have any super close relationships with either of her parents, which also is exactly like the trope. With so many female characters embodying this personality trope, it's become a little stale and overdone. This isn't to say that this trope can't be done well, far from it. The reason why it's become such a popular trope is because a lot of the fantastic female characters have come from it. Unfortunately, Charlie doesn't get enough time by herself to stand out from all the other characters that fall into this category, making her feel a little stale and boring. This is further aggravated by a lot of the characters having big personalities. Super energetic characters like Charlie work best when they have someone calm and more reserved to play off of. For Charlie, this character is Vaggie, but she and Vaggie don't get enough screen time together to make this kind of dynamic work. Charlie is often seen together with other characters with big personalities like Alistair, Adam, and Lucifer. This makes it feel like the characters on screen are always fighting for who gets your attention, and Charlie usually loses because she's the tropiest out of all the characters in the entire show. There's a couple things we can do to help this. We can either tone down every single character that Charlie interacts with, or we can tone down Charlie. Toning down Charlie will do the least amount of damage, so it's a lot easier to rewrite her interactions with the other characters. I also don't like how ignorant Charlie is. Charlie was raised in hell, but doesn't seem to know very much about it or how it works. She often comes off as delusional or just downright stupid because of her ridiculous level of ignorance. She could have been a really sheltered as a kid, but they never say this in the show, and even still, if she's 200 years old, I just can't imagine her being that sheltered for that long. Even if we assume that she was sheltered her entire adult life too, her mother disappeared 7 years ago, and she wasn't super close with her dad, so we know that she wasn't being sheltered by him. We can assume that Charlie was living on her own for at least 7 years. A person can change a lot in only 1 year, let alone 7. In my AU, I'm going to make Charlie a much more reserved person. She's quiet and polite. She still has her dream, but she's a little more realistic about it. In order to make her dream come true, Charlie went to school and became a licensed therapist. She knows that she can't just preach at people and expect any sort of meaningful change. Everyone in hell needs professional help in order to change for the better, and no one knows this better than Charlie. She was raised down there. She knows firsthand how normalized every type of evil is in hell, and how much work it takes to change for the better. I'm thinking that maybe for a large part of her early life, she was an overlord herself. A powerful one at that. Being Lucifer's daughter, she never had to worry about the exterminations, and it was perfect for her. She could take advantage of any power vacuum left over after the exterminations, rarely even needing to lift a finger to conquer territory. Her mother, though, was not afforded the same luxury. Her mother disappeared 7 years ago from the time that the show actually starts. I think she would assume that her mother was killed in one of the exterminations, and it would start her on a path to redemption. After using the first couple years to work on herself and come to a realization of the error of her ways, she would release every soul she owned and go to school to become a therapist. Her new dream was not to rule hell, it was to help souls escape it. Being kind isn't something that comes naturally to Charlie. She has to actively think about what is and isn't the right thing to do in any situation, which can make her a little slow to respond. She has a tendency to overthink and overplan everything. She's got insane book smarts but struggles socially and doesn't understand current street smarts. A lot can change about the world in only 7 years, and I think this would be especially true of hell. The exterminations is one of the few ways that sinners can actually die. Imagine that the only way that people can pass on is through a yearly natural disaster. The societal makeup would completely change every single year, with new people coming in and old sinners dying en masse. I also think that Charlie would be accidentally intimidating all the time. She is the princess of hell and was raised to command respect in the way that she speaks and moves around. I think the only time that Charlie would get as energetic as we see her in the OG series would be when she's alone with Vaggie. Vaggie would be one of the few people that Charlie feels comfortable being vulnerable with, at least in the first season. Charlie would view their relationship with the other characters in a more business-like way. Angel is a customer, Alistair is an investor, Bitsy and Husker employees. Vaggie is the only person who was a friend first before she got her bed and breakfast started for real. Now, to end off this video, here's my pitch for episode 1. We open up the series with the song Always Chasing Rainbows, which is how the pilot started. I think this song does a perfect job of introducing us to the world, and it has a lot of visual storytelling to it that it sets up the mood, it gets you familiarized with the setting a little bit, and really just establishes the vibe. We start the episode with Vaggie and Charlie meeting for the first time. Vaggie would have been injured from her fall and looking for a place to hide while the extermination is raging. She hides in an alleyway and passes out there. Before her vision fades out entirely, we'll see Charlie's silhouette approach her. Vaggie wakes up later with her wounds bandaged in Charlie's bed and breakfast. The place is fairly run down, though it seems that Charlie has made an attempt to make it nice. Vaggie would pretend to be asleep when she hears Charlie approaching. Charlie's first proper appearance would be shot from Vaggie's perspective. She would be lit to look as terrifying and demonic as possible, but when she speaks, that will all fade away. She would give Vaggie some food and try to make her feel as comfortable and safe as possible. Then, the conversation starts. Vaggie tells her that she got hit by a car and woke up here, that she has no idea where she is or what's going on. Vaggie would be on the brink of full-blown panic, and Charlie would have to soothe her. Charlie would give us some exposition about hell and the exterminations. All throughout this, Vaggie would be confused, terrified, and quiet. The conversation would then move on to Vaggie's long-term plans for living in hell. Charlie would start telling her about her plan for the bed and breakfast, and Vaggie would respond positively. Charlie would be overjoyed to finally have someone who wants to help her with her plan, and the two would quickly become friends. The rest of the episode will be spent trying to fix up their building as best they can. They would bond while they clean and do their best to fix things around the building, but of course, not everything goes as well as they could hope. Every time they fix something, something else seems to break. Neither know anything about construction or home repair, so their best isn't fantastic either. By the halfway point of the episode, enough time will have passed for Vaggie's injuries to have fully healed, and for her and Charlie to be really good friends now. The last thing they need is someone, anyone, just to show up and live there for a little bit. They had already put up posters early in their episode, so they need to try a new tactic of getting someone inside. So they try some door-to-door marketing, which really does not go well. They come back to the hotel both feeling frustrated and dejected. At the end of the episode, they get a knock at the door. It's Angel Dust holding a poster for the bed and breakfast in his hand. This is where the episode would end. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope I see you all again next week. Comment which character you want to see next. I take commissions, I have stickers for sale, I've got a Patreon, and of course all of my other Hazbin Hotel videos are in a playlist for your viewing convenience. I'll see you all in a super cool video next week where I eat 7 tapeworms. Goodbye!